Well, hello and welcome to News Hour on Voice of the People TV. I am Vivian Oguche. Before we begin the news, kindly visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Here are the headlines. Jonathan distanced self from Instagram post on presidential race. Southeast leaders chairman endorse Anyang as national secretary. Also, NAS caucus defends emergency rule in Rivers. And Wike defends 39 billion naira ICC renovation. Court admits Radio Biafra transmitter as evidence in Nnamdi Kanu's trial. And Pandef commends Tinubu for honoring Ken Saro-Wiwa. On the foreign scene, Israel launches a fresh wave of strikes on Iran. And in business news, federal government to revoke dormant oil licenses. In sports news, Man United reopen talks to sign Osimhen. And in the world of entertainment, Mayokun releases 12-track album. Now the news in detail. Former President Goodluck Jonathan has distanced himself from a cryptic Instagram post about the 2027 presidential election. An Instagram handle bearing the name of the former president claimed that the country's current leaders are sleeping. The post urged Nigerians to make the right leadership choice during the 2027 elections. The post comes amid speculations that Jonathan, who was president from 2010 to 2015, is considering seeking re-election in 2027. Weighing in on the post, Jonathan's spokesperson Ikechukwu Eze said the former president does not own an Instagram account. In the meantime, the Action Democratic Congress led the convergence of various political groups and partners under its fold, aiming to form a formidable opposition and shape the country's future government ahead of the 2027 general election. At the event tagged Strengthening Alliances for a Better Nigeria held in Lagos, ADC State's Chairman George Ashiru said the coalition brought together diverse groups, including the Association of Former PDP Aspirants, the Atiku Coalition Support Group. Representatives' ideology and principles are universal, providing a platform for Nigerians who seek candidates genuinely committed to the welfare of the people. National Coordinator for Nigerian Youth for Atiku, Babatunde Olariwaju, also spoke at the event, expressing support for the coalition. He said the effort was about building a better Nigeria for all citizens, not just about the presidency. Well, still talking politics, Southeast leaders and state chairman of the People's Democratic Party have recognized Samuel Anyang as the authentic national secretary of the party. The decision was taken at the Abia State PDP Secretariat in Umuahia during an expanded meeting that attracted some national officials of the party. Explaining the reason for recognizing Anyang, the Southeast PDP leaders spoke of the need to respect the Supreme Court judgment, which they said affirmed him as the authentic national secretary of the party. PDP National Vice Chairman Southeast, Chidebere Goodluck, who addressed the expanded meeting, advised all aggrieved members to return to the fold to strengthen the party for future election victories. Also, the chairman of Imo State PDP, Austin Nwachukwu, said Anyang is a recognized national secretary of the party. He commended the members of the Abia State PDP, led by former Governor Okezie Ikpeazu, the chairman Abraham Ama, and Senator Austin Akobundu for their efforts in maintaining unity and focus. And away from that report, the Rivers State Caucus in the National Assembly has questioned the rights of former Bayelsa State Governor Senator Seriake Dickson to speak on issues of the emergency rule in Rivers State, saying the state was not under any military rule as the sole administrator is a retired military officer. Addressing Assembly correspondents, a leader of the caucus, Kingsley Chinda, said the emergency rule declared in Rivers State was clearly a matter of necessity aimed at restoring law and order in the state. He said this was attested to by the suspended governor, who recently thanked the president for declaring the state of emergency in the state and accused Senator Dickson of deceiving Fubara to make continuous mistakes until he was suspended from office. Chinda asked the Senate Committee on Ethics to immediately commence an investigation into the utterances of Senator Dickson, which he said were unparliamentary. In another development, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has defended the 39 billion naira spent on renovating the International Conference Center in Abuja, describing the upgrade as comprehensive and necessary. Speaking at the commissioning of the newly completed left-hand service carriageway in Abuja, Wike stated that everything within the conference center was replaced during the renovation except the building's block structure. Wike said that though the sum of 240 million naira was spent on building the conference center in 1991 during the military regime of former head of state Ibrahim Babangida, a lot has changed in the prices of commodities, hence the sum of 39 billion naira spent on the renovation of the conference center. Recall that President Bola Tinubu on Tuesday inaugurated the refurbished International Conference Center, Abuja, which the FCT minister renamed after him as the Bola Tinubu International Conference Center, Abuja. Some members of the opposition, including former federal lawmaker Shehu Sani, subsequently faulted Wike's decision and argued that the conference center should have been renamed after Babangida and not Tinubu. Some people also believe that the money spent on the rehabilitation of the conference center was outrageous. Well, to legal matters now. The Federal High Court in Abuja has admitted in evidence a radio transmitter allegedly smuggled into the country by the detained self-acclaimed leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. Justice James Omotosho admitted the transmitter along with a 20-foot container in which it was allegedly brought into the country from London during a brief proceeding conducted within the premises of the headquarters of the Department of State Services in Abuja. The decision of the court to conduct the proceeding in the DSS headquarters was informed by an oral application by prosecuting lawyer Adegboyega Awumolo, who prayed the court to inspect the transmitter and container which was kept in the DSS facility. He made the application midway into the testimony of the false prosecution witness, who, among others, testified about how the transmitter and container were recovered in a premises in Ubulu Isuzo in Hiala local government area of Anambra State. The prosecuting lawyer said it was impossible for the prosecution to bring the transmitter and the container to the court premises and urged the court to relocate to where they are kept for the purpose of citing and for the prosecution to tender them. Earlier in his testimony, the false prosecution witness, a DSS agent, told the court that he knew Kanu as the leader of IPOB, a group campaigning for the secession of the southeastern states, parts of the South-South, as well as Benue and Kogi states from Nigeria to form a Biafra republic. He said Kanu utilized his Radio Biafra to propagate his messages and incite his followers to engage in violence and other terrorism activities. Meanwhile, Halima Buba and Innocent Mbagu and the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer and Executive Director, Chief Compliance Officer of SunTrust Bank Limited, respectively, were arraigned before a Federal High Court, Abuja, for alleged fraud of $12 million. Buba and Mbagu were arraigned by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission before Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court. The anti-graft agency alleged that the two top bankers at different times aided some individuals to make cash payments of millions of dollars without going through financial institutions. And away from that report, the Pan-Niger Delta Forum has expressed its appreciation for President Bola Tinubu's decision to grant national honors to Ken Saro-Wiwa and 8 Ogoni activists. PANDEF's national chairman, God Knows Igali, in a statement commended President Tinubu for the gesture, which he described as a step towards acknowledging the sacrifices made by activists. Gali highlighted the profound meaning of Democracy Day in Nigeria's democratic history, serving as a reminder of the nation's journey and the need for reflection on current realities. The group addressed the situation in Rivers State and called upon President Tinubu and the National Assembly to act quickly to restore democratic governance in the state. Pandef also urged all political actors in Rivers State to embrace peace and reconciliation. Well, switching some gears now, a former Lagos State lawmaker, Jude Idumogu, has urged President Bola Tinubu to declare MKO Abiola as a past Nigerian president posthumously. Idumogu, who represented Oshodi Isolo constituency 2 from 2015 to 2023, made the appeal in an interview with newsmen in Lagos. He, however, noted that such a declaration depends on the president's disposition and whether it aligns with constitutional and legal procedures. Demogu said MKO Abiola was not officially declared winner by the electoral body because the election was annulled before final declaration. He stressed that the decision lies between constitutional constraints and presidential will, noting the National Assembly may also need to be involved. And now the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has directed aviation agencies to investigate the face-off between Senator Adams Oshiomhole and Air Peace at the Muritala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos. A row broke out on Wednesday at the domestic wing of the Airport Terminal 1 in Lagos between Senator Adams Oshiomhole and the officials of Air Peace Airline over preventing the senator from boarding a 6:30 a.m. flight. The airline said the senator arrived after the boarding process had ended and the plane departed. Senator Oshiomhole alleged that he and other passengers were victims of sharp practices by the airline staff members who redirected their tickets to other passengers at higher rates. He denied barricading the terminal, disrupting flight operations, or being unruly as alleged by the airline. Oshiomhole said he only decided to fight for Nigerians who were being extorted by the airline under the pretext of coming late. Reacting to the development in a post on X, the minister directed aviation agencies to thoroughly probe the issues and revert to his office, noting that the investigation would enable the sector to deal with the issue in such a way as to guide future conduct in similar situations. And on to security matters. The Defense Headquarters says the troops of Operation Hadinkai have arrested terrorist logistics suppliers, collaborators, and a Chinese national claiming to be a miner in Borno and Yobe. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Marcus Kange, made this known while briefing newsmen on the operations of the armed forces in Abuja. Major General Kange said the Chinese was arrested during well-coordinated operations conducted in Kukawa and Ngala local government areas of Borno State, adding that investigation was being carried out to unravel the motive of the suspect and his involvement in illegal activities. He reaffirmed the resolve of the military to protect the lives and property of citizens, uphold the rule of law, and foster a safe and secure environment for all Nigerians. Well, you're still watching News Hour on Voice of the People TV. More stories after this break. Stay with us.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV, now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Welcome back to News Hour. And now operatives of the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons and the Defense Intelligence Agency have arrested 3 suspects believed to be members of an organized criminal network operating in Nigeria. NAPTIP noted that the operation, which was carried out in the Federal Capital Territory, Osun, and Nasarawa states, targeting the criminal cells and their kingpins, led to the rescue of 20 victims trafficked from the Republic of Equatorial Guinea and Togo to Nigeria for various forms of labor exploitation. The agency, in a statement by its press officer Vincent Adekoye, stated that following the directive of the Director General of NAPTIP, Binta Bello, the agency increased surveillance within border communities across the country to stop the activities of some suspected crime syndicates who are believed to have infiltrated Nigeria from some African countries. The victims, according to the statement by the agency, said they were deceived by members of the syndicate with promises of high-paying jobs in Nigeria, while they processed documentation for onward journeys to different locations in Europe. Well, turning to other stories now, a 52-year-old Canada returnee, Murufudini Idowu, has been sentenced to 3 months imprisonment for assaulting an official of the Lagos State Environmental Sanitation Corps, popularly known as KAI, at Ojota. Idowu was arrested after he allegedly physically attacked a KAI official who stopped him from crossing the Ojota Expressway in violation of Lagos State's pedestrian safety regulations. The Lagos State Commissioner for the Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, disclosed in a post on X that the incident occurred during routine enforcement activities by KAI officers to discourage illegal road crossing. Wahab disclosed that Idowu, who claimed to have recently returned from Canada, refused lawful arrest and assaulted a government official performing his duty. Well, staying with Lagos, the state government is to begin enforcement of its electronic call-up system for tankers and other articulated vehicles operating on the Lekki-Ekpe corridor with effect from the 16th of June. The government said that the enforcement will be in an effort to enhance logistics coordination and reduce traffic congestion to save about 4 trillion naira for the state residents. The special advisor to Lagos State Governor on Transportation, Shola Giwa, disclosed this in a statement. Giwa also revealed that Lagos residents lose an average of 4 hours daily to traffic congestion, resulting in an estimated 4 trillion naira loss annually. The special advisor attributed much of the gridlock to unregulated parking, disorderly loading and unloading activities on major logistics routes, adding that enforcement of the e-call-up system was also aimed at improving road safety. Across the globe now, voices are rising today to spotlight a cause that demands urgent attention. It's International Albinism Awareness Day, a day set aside to champion the rights, health, and safety of people living with albinism. In Nigeria, advocates are not just raising awareness, they are demanding equality and protection. VOPTV's Oyindamola Olukuton has the rest of the report.
The International Albinism Awareness Day, and this year's theme, Demanding Our Rights, Protects Our Skin, Preserves Our Life, is sparking conversations across the country. In Nigeria, the national president of the Albinism Association, Dr. Bamishi, emphasized the urgent need to enforce the rights of people with albinism. She called on government agencies and society at large to recognize their rights to quality healthcare, education, and protection from discrimination.
The theme for this year is demanding our rights, protect our skin, preserve our lives. The theme is very, very important and adequate. So that means it is compulsory for us to demand for our rights. And our rights can come in many ways, which the government can help us to actualize. Firstly, in the area of preventive measures, because the sun is our greatest enemy, which leads to skin cancer. Every month, at least 2 of our members do succumb to skin cancer. That means we do lose them. So if governments can help us to, number 1, make skin cancer part of the benefits of National Health Insurance Scheme.
Also, speaking on the importance of protecting life, is the Lagos State President, Advocate Tolani Ojuri, highlighted the health risk people with albinism face, especially due to exposure to the sun.
Well, when it comes to life preservation, that's basically healthcare. One major problem persons with albinism, one major problem we have with health is skin cancer, and that is due to the fact that the UV rays of the sun affects our skin because we don't have the protective cover, that we don't have melanin that makes us dark and that protects us from the harmful rays of the sun. So the problem most persons with albinism have is lesions on the skin, which develops into full-blown skin cancer. Over time, there had been some attempt at the federal government through the National Hospital, but it went on for a while and it had not been successful. The project broke down along the way because it's expected that persons with albinism that have got various types of skin cancer, they come from all over the country to the National Hospital in Abuja. And as we speak, that project is not on. It has stopped because of lack of funds. So at federal level, it's a no-no. We're still trying to push with the Ministry of Health for them to have a robust arrangement whereby we could have treatment for persons with albinism at designated hospitals in the 6 geopolitical regions of the country. We are trying to use the Lagos State model, whereby in Lagos, persons with albinism walk into the state teaching hospital and the system picks them up from there. Either they require surgery, either they require chemotherapy, or or better still, they give them sunscreens, wide brim hats, and umbrellas to protect them from skin cancer. So this Lagos State model, which is up and running, we believe that in a matter of between 12 and 24 months, we will have it modeled across the country. And this, to a very large extent, will protect the lives of persons with albinism. That is even not to say that treatment, of course, is expensive. And we're still going to focus more on advocacy, prevention, whereby persons with albinism, their family members, their associates, and general society at large are well educated on the dangers of the sun to persons with albinism. Of course, they will definitely be told as well, they will be explained to them from time to time how to protect themselves and other areas of their lives that has to do with their health. Mental health is not left out as well.
As the world marks this important day, the message remains clear: respect our rights, protect our skin, and preserve our life. And from Voice of the People TV, we're wishing you Happy International Albinism Awareness Day.
Well, coming up, foreign business, sports, and entertainment stories after this break.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
Welcome back. On the foreign scene now, Israel's military says it continues to strike Iranian military targets, including the nuclear sites of Isfahan and Natanz, after it carried out waves of strikes on Iran overnight. Earlier, the Israel Defense Forces said Revolutionary Guard Chief Hussein Salami and other senior military figures were assassinated, while Iran says 6 scientists have also been killed. U.S. President Donald Trump has urged Iran to make a deal on its nuclear program, warning of even more brutal Israeli attacks. Meanwhile, Iran has accused the U.S. of supporting Israel's strikes an accusation which the U.S. has denied. And now Saudi Arabia has condemned the Israeli aggression against Iran, which left a number of civilians and military commanders killed and injured. The Saudi Foreign Ministry, in a statement, strongly condemned the attacks on Iran, calling it a violation of the sovereignty of the Islamic Republic of Iran and international law. The statement said that such aggressive actions threaten the security and stability of the region and should not be ignored by the international community. In the meantime, Iran's permanent mission to the United Nations has called for an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council in the wake of Israel's assault against Iran. In an official letter to the President of the UN Security Council, the Iranian mission called for an emergency UNSC meeting in response to the Israeli regime's brazen act of aggression against Iran. Condemning the Israeli strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities and senior military officials, the UN mission requested a decisive action by the UNSC in response to the Israeli regime's attacks. Iran's mission also denounced the Israeli attack as a clear violation of the UN Charter and the fundamental principles of the international law, warning that its dangerous consequences jeopardize regional and international peace and security. Over now to India, where the Civil Aviation Minister Ram Kinjarapu has confirmed that a black box has been found at the site of the Air India plane crash at Ahmedabad. Kinjarapu disclosed that the flight data recorder was recovered within 28 hours by India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau. All but one of the 242 people on the London-bound flight died when it crashed into a residential area less than 60 seconds after takeoff on Thursday. The black box is a crucial device that records key flight information such as altitude, speed, engine performance, and pilot inputs, helping investigators piece together what happened in the moments before a crash. And now an appeal court has temporarily blocked a federal judge's order that directed the Trump administration to return control of California's National Guard troops back to the state. The appeal court's decision came hours after a federal judge said Trump's deployment of the troops to Los Angeles to quell immigration raids was illegal. Trump said he was sending the troops, who are typically under the governor's authority, to stop LA from burning down in protests against his immigration crackdown. California Governor Gavin Newsom and other local officials rejected the move, however, and said it was an unnecessary provocation. Elsewhere, the head of the main police station in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, has been detained over the killing of a young blogger in police custody. Albert Ojwang's death sparked protests after doctors refuted a police claim he had died from self-inflicted injuries caused by hitting his head on a cell wall. Ojwang died in police custody last weekend after he was arrested over a post on X that was allegedly critical of Deputy Inspector General of Police Eliud Lagat. Two men have been jailed for stealing a £4.8 million gold toilet from an art exhibition at Blenheim Palace, England. Thieves smashed their way in and ripped out the functional 18-carat solid gold toilet hours after a glamorous launch party at the Oxfordshire stately home in September 2019. James Sheen pleaded guilty to burglary, transferring criminal property, and conspiracy to do the same in 2024, while Michael Jones was found guilty of burglary. The men from Oxford were sentenced to 4 years and 2 years and 3 months in prison, respectively. And now the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission has told oil producers that it is set to implement a drill or drop policy. The chief executive of the NUPRC, Gbenga Komolafe, disclosed this when he received a delegation from the Independent Petroleum Producers Group at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja. Komolafe emphasized that oil and gas producers must either begin production within a specified time frame or relinquish their licenses. He said that the policy aimed to revitalize the oil sector, ensure optimal use of assets, and boost government revenue. And the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Bank of Industry, Olasupo Olusi, has disclosed that the bank is set to unveil an impact fund and a youth bank to support enterprise development and drive youth-led industrialization across Nigeria. Speaking during the recent inaugural Innovation and Entrepreneurship Development Annual Lecture organized by Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Osun State, Olusi said the initiative are aligned with the federal government's Renewed Hope agenda and aimed at closing funding gaps for youth-led businesses and innovation-driven enterprises. He said the upcoming BOI Impact Fund will deploy various financial instruments, including debt and equity, to support high-growth enterprises and strategic value chain companies, while also providing critical support to struggling businesses. And now global oil prices have jumped after Israel said it had struck Iran in a dramatic escalation of tensions in the Middle East. The price of the benchmark Brent crude was up by more than 10% shortly after the news emerged, reaching its highest level since January. Traders are concerned that the conflict between Iran and Israel could disrupt supplies coming from the energy-rich region. Well, from business to sports now, Premier League giants Manchester United have reportedly reopened talks with Victor Osimhen over a potential transfer in the summer transfer window. Osimhen is aiming to leave the Serie A champions this summer and is entertaining interest from several clubs, including the Red Devils. The 26-year-old Nigerian international is demanding a salary of €12 million from his potential new club. He spent last season on loan with Galatasaray, who are also hoping to keep him in Turkey. Napoli have set an asking price of €75 million for the former Lille striker. Now, Super Eagles winger Ademola Lookman has been nominated for Atalanta's Goal of the Season. Lookman was nominated for his superb strike in Ladi's 3-2 defeat to Real Madrid and 5-0 thrashing of Empoli. The Nigerian international was in good form for Atalanta last season, registering 22 goals and 5 assists in 46 appearances across all competitions. Well, still sports, Real Madrid have signed Franco Mastantuono, the youngest player to ever feature in a competitive match for Argentina, from River Plate. River Plate will receive €45 million after the 17-year-old's release clause was triggered, which sets a new record for the Argentine club. The attacking midfielder has regularly played for River Plate's first team over the past 2 seasons and is the youngest player to have scored in their derby with Boca Juniors. Last week, he became Argentina's youngest debutant in a competitive fixture when he was brought on as a late substitute in a 1-0 World Cup qualifying win against Chile. His 6-year deal begins on August 14th, the day he turns 18. Well, in the world of entertainment, Nigerian singer Mayokun has released his much-anticipated album titled Still the Mayor. In the body of work, the singer featured a blend of international and Nigerian artists. The artists on the album include Ghanaian singers King Promise and Oliver DeBoy, as well as Nigerian-American artist Rotimi, Davido, Dremo, Fireboy, The Flow Wolf, and Michi are among the Nigerian artists featured on the project. Mayokun gained popularity in 2016 after he released his debut single, Eleko, which was produced by Puffy T. And now Kanye West reportedly wants to attend Diddy's sex trafficking trial as a sign of support for the embattled music icon. West has reportedly been in touch with Diddy's team about making an appearance at court as a show of solidarity with his occasional collaborator. West may attend when the defense begins to present their case, which is expected to happen in the next week after the prosecution rests. They also report that West has grown close to Diddy's son, King Combs, and that the two have been working on music together. West has been the most high-profile defender of Diddy ever since he was first accused of sexual assault and sex trafficking back in 2023. And that wraps it up for us in News Hour. But before we go, a quick look at the headlines. We told you that former President Goodluck Jonathan has distanced himself from an Instagram post on the presidential race. Also, Southeast leaders and chairman endorse Anyanwu as national secretary. NAS caucus defends emergency rule in Rivers. And Wike defends a 39 billion naira ICC renovation. Also, court admits Radio Biafra transmitter as evidence in Nnamdi Kanu's trial. Pandev commends Tinubu for honoring Ken Saro-Wiwa. On the foreign scene, Israel launches a fresh wave of strikes on Iran. And business news, federal government to revoke dormant oil licenses. In sports news, Man United reopen talks to sign Osimhen. And in the world of entertainment, Mayokun releases 12-track album. Do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV, and on other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. I am Vivian Oguche, and thank you for watching.